Within the deepest chambers of your being exists something that transcends all temporal boundaries, something softer than the gentlest whisper, yet more enduring than mountains. This presence does not announce itself with fanfare or demand recognition through force. It exists as a quiet flame at your core, undisturbed by the turbulent winds of worldly existence. This flame is your truest nature, the luminous essence of your being, and it represents the fundamental truth of your existence. Your arrival in this physical realm was not a random occurrence or meaningless accident. You did not emerge as an incomplete entity requiring validation or needing to justify your worthiness. Instead, you came forth from the infinite womb of eternity already radiating completeness, already embodying wholeness, already expressing your inherent worthiness. You did not come here to transform into light, for you already emerged from light itself. You are that light made manifest in human form. Before language named you, before features defined your face, before society's expectations shaped your identity, you existed as pure consciousness. You were divine breath clothed in mortal form. And nothing that has occurred in this world, no experience or circumstance, has ever diminished that fundamental truth. Yet the journey through physical existence inevitably brings veils that obscure this knowing. Gradually and subtly, forgetting begins. The cacophony of external voices drowns out the soul's gentle whisper. We exchange our luminous essence for external validation, trading our authentic being for conditional acceptance. We begin accepting the illusion of separation from one another, from source, from our own divine nature. Still, regardless of how far we wander into forgetting, the light persists. It does not reside in some distant celestial realm or depend on others' recognition. It waits in the silence beneath all sound, patient as the sun behind passing clouds, never diminished by our amnesia, never offended by our doubts, steadfast and unyielding in its presence. You are not defined by your errors or shortcomings. You transcend your personal narrative and the accumulated weight of your suffering. You are not the credentials listed on your resume or the burdens carried in your heart. You exist as the awareness observing all of this, the witnessing presence, the sacred stillness at the center of experience. You are eternity's beam passing through a moment in time. When you truly remember this, when this recognition penetrates deeply, transformation occurs. The compulsion to prove yourself dissolves naturally. The urgency to become something other fades away. In their place rises a calm certainty that you already embody what you have been seeking. The light you pursue is not something to be discovered externally, but something to be uncovered within. It is not an achievement earned through effort, but a remembering of what has always been true. This remembering requires not striving but surrender. It asks not for increased effort but for stillness, not for accumulation but for release, releasing pretense, releasing resistance, releasing noise. The ego fears this stillness because it thrives on performance, comparison, and the illusion of control. It whispers insistently that you are insufficient, that you must accomplish more, that you must transform into something greater. But the soul sings a different melody altogether, affirming that you are already whole, already home, already complete. Rest now, beloved. Return to this knowing. This is not mere poetry but living truth, the same truth that flows through ancient wisdom traditions, that breathes through sacred teachings, that echoes through the words of mystics across time. It is the truth toward which all rivers of understanding eventually flow. You are divine essence. You are eternal consciousness. You are light made visible for one brief, beautiful moment in the dance of existence. In this precious moment, what will you do with the breath moving through you? Will you spend it chasing shadows and illusions? Or will you use it to shine your authentic light? Will you flee from the parts of yourself that long to be held with compassion? Or will you turn inward with mercy in your hands, whispering gently to every fragment of your being that each part is seen, loved, and safe? Because this light dwelling within you operates without judgment. It does not blame or condemn. It does not wait for you to achieve perfection before offering its love. It loves unconditionally, welcoming every aspect of you home, the shame, the grief, the yearning, all of it. Nothing exists that is too broken for the light to embrace. In truth, it is through the cracks and wounds that light pours forth most freely and brilliantly. Healing is not about constructing a new identity or becoming something you are not. It is about removing the accumulated lies that covered what was never actually broken. It represents the return to your original radiance, the sacred unlearning of everything that caused you to forget your inherent brilliance. The world may resist this awakening. It may ask you to armor yourself, to dim your natural glow, to conform to unconscious patterns. But do not shrink yourself to fit the mold created by those still sleeping. Do not trade your soul's knowing for the fleeting approval of those unaware of their own light. Walk gently through the world, but walk in truth. Speak softly when appropriate, but speak from the fire burning within you. When the world questions your right to shine and asks who you think you are, smile with the wisdom of the cosmos and answer clearly that you are light clothed in form, remembering itself. This remembering marks the beginning of true freedom, not freedom from discomfort, but freedom within all experience. Not escape from life, but the embrace of existence in its entirety, the beauty alongside the mess, the joy intertwined with the ache. When you know who you truly are, no experience can ultimately define you. You remain untouched, like the sky existing behind all passing clouds. So cease trying to shine, for you already shine naturally. Stop seeking the divine externally, for you already are the divine expressing itself. Let the restless mind find rest. Let the heart open fully. Let the body soften into presence. The light from which you were born continues burning within you. When this physical life eventually ends, as all forms must, you will not vanish into nothingness. You will return not to emptiness, but to everything. You will return to the radiance that sent you here, to the infinite ocean from which you emerged as a wave. You are not merely the wave, frantic and fleeting. You are the ocean itself, calm and eternal. You are not a temporary flicker of light. You are the sun. You are not a visitor in the temple of existence. You are the temple itself. You are the sacred. You are the source. And nothing, no mistake, no loss, no story can ever take that away from you. So breathe deeply now. Remember this truth: you were born from light, and to light you shall return. As you stand in this present moment, not waiting for some distant future or the conclusion of a mystical journey, but here in this breath, allow your awareness to deepen like a river surrendering to the ocean. Let every inhalation be an act of remembrance, every exhalation a release of what no longer serves your soul's unfolding. You are not waiting for your light to be ignited from outside. You are remembering that it never went out. You do not need more time to become what you already are. You do not need additional approval to walk the path your spirit already knows intimately. You do not need more certainty to trust the step that arises naturally from stillness. Consider how the acorn does not ask permission to become the oak tree. It surrenders to its inherent nature. Your nature is to expand gently, powerfully, inevitably back into the fullness of your being. The mind may attempt to measure your progress, to chart your growth like a map marked with milestones. But the soul does not operate in linear fashion. It dances in spirals, in moments of presence, in sacred detours that only later reveal their purpose. Your journey is not forward but inward, not toward greater heights but deeper depths, not farther away but closer to center. The world may praise your productivity, but your soul celebrates your presence. The world may glorify achievement, but your essence knows that being represents the highest form of doing. When you return to being, when you stop attempting to fix the river and instead allow it to flow naturally, you become what you were always meant to be: an instrument for grace, a channel for love, a vessel of light. There exists a tenderness inside you that has long been overlooked, a gentleness that has endured countless storms, carried innumerable burdens, and kept beating even when the world forgot to listen to its rhythm. This tenderness is not weakness, but your greatest strength. It is the soft resilience of a heart that refuses to close no matter how many times it has been broken. Allow yourself to feel again, not only the peaks of experience, but the quiet spaces in between, the pause before the next step, the ache before the next awakening, the silence that follows surrender. In these spaces, the soul speaks not with commands or conditions, but with the loving authority of truth. You are not here to conquer your life through force. You are here to commune with it, to listen to its seasons, to respect its natural rhythms, to bow before its mysteries with humility. What appears as delay is often divine timing working perfectly. What you label as failure may be sacred redirection guiding you toward your true path. What seems like emptiness may in fact be the spaciousness required for your spirit to expand into greater expressions. If you could perceive what the source within you perceives, you would never again doubt your worth. You would never again diminish yourself to be understood by those operating from limited perspectives. You would move through life as the sun moves across the sky, radiant, effortless, unapologetically true to your nature. You do not belong to your past. It was a chapter in your story, not your definition. You do not belong to your pain. It was a teacher and lesson, not your identity. You do not belong to the opinions of others. They are mirrors reflecting their own consciousness, not masters determining your reality. You belong to the light, You belong to the infinite. You belong to the great mystery that birthed galaxies and placed breath in your lungs. This light is calling you now, not to strive endlessly, but to return home. Not to ascend away from your humanity, but to descend fully into the body, into the present moment, into the sacred ground of your own existence. There is no genuine enlightenment without embodiment. There is no spiritual awakening that bypasses your humanity. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to illuminate it with your presence. Let yourself be truly seen. Not the persona you have constructed, not the performance you have perfected, but your soul in its naked authenticity. Let your eyes reflect the stars from which they came. Let your voice carry the vibration of truth. Let your presence be the permission others need to stop hiding their own light. When one soul remembers its true nature, it lights the way for many others. When you live as the light you are, you do not need to speak elaborate words. Your very being becomes the sermon. You were not sent here to convince the world of your worth through argument or proof. You were sent here to embody your worth so fully that even the darkest places remember their own light in your presence. There is sanctity in your breath, holiness in your heartbeat, divinity in the simple act of being. Yet we so often miss this sacred truth because we have been conditioned to seek only the extraordinary in noise, climax, and applause. But real power, soul power, is quiet. It is the unmoved center. It is the silence in which galaxies turn on their axis. It is this silence that is asking you now to come home to yourself. You were never meant to hustle your way into worthiness. You were meant to remember that you were crafted by a presence so infinite, so wise, that it did not need to consult the world before declaring you enough. You are not a project requiring completion. You are a mystery meant to be experienced. You are not raw material awaiting transformation into some future version of perfection. You are already whole, already divine, already ablaze with the energy that spoke stars into being. To see this clearly, the mind must bow in humility. The endless stream of thoughts, so loud and insistent, must soften into the background so that deeper knowing may rise. Not the knowing that comes from logic and analysis, but the knowing that feels like recognition, like remembering something ancient. That sacred moment when you look into the eyes of a stranger and remember something timeless beyond words. That knowing is your essence. It cannot be taught through instruction. It can only be revealed through direct experience. Once revealed, even for a single breath, it shifts the gravitational center of your entire life. Suddenly, success is no longer about achieving external markers, but about aligning with your truth. Purpose is no longer a target to hit, but the direction of your inner compass. Love is no longer a transaction to be negotiated, but becomes the language you speak simply by being real. You begin to realize that peace was never far away. It was simply buried beneath the need to prove yourself, the compulsion to control outcomes, the fear of not being enough. You begin to understand that joy is not a product of achieving perfection. It is the natural state of the unburdened soul released from false constraints. And love, true love, has nothing to do with performance or conditions. It is what remains when all masks fall away and authenticity stands revealed. Your path is not to acquire more light from external sources, but to strip away everything that conceals the light already present. The fear, the self-judgment, the inherited shame. These are not who you are. They are garments you were given by a confused world, not your true skin. They are echoes of a collective consciousness that forgot its own divinity. But you are here to remember. You are the breath of God taking form for a moment, not to climb ladders of comparison, not to gather trophies of survival, but to simply live as truth embodied in flesh. This means showing up authentically when circumstances are difficult. It means loving even when it hurts to keep your heart open. It means letting the raw, unscripted moments be the temple in which your light bows to itself in recognition. Do not wait until life becomes easier to be fully present. Do not wait until the chaos subsides to listen to your soul's guidance. The soul speaks most clearly when the world is loudest, not because it raises its voice in competition, but because its whisper never wavers in consistency. It is the stillness behind the storm, the eye in the center of every hurricane. This stillness is your birthright, this unwavering calm, not dependent on external conditions, not reactive to outcomes, is the truth of your being. When you sit in this stillness, when you dwell there consistently, you realize something profound. You no longer need to chase love because you are the space in which love arises naturally. You are not the seeker. You are what is sought by life itself. Even if every story you have been told insists otherwise, even if every voice in the world demands that you must earn your place through struggle, There is one voice, timeless, formless, eternal, that simply affirms you are. That simple existence is enough. That has always been enough. That will always be enough. Let us walk further into this unfolding silence. This living breath of eternity that stirs within you, not as a future to be chased, but as a presence to be welcomed right now. You are not on your way toward the light somewhere in the distance. You are the light on its way into the world. Though the path may seem to wind unexpectedly, each curve is grace in disguise, each detour a deeper invitation into truth. The illusion that you are fundamentally broken is the final veil, the last deception keeping the soul from opening its arms to itself in full acceptance. You have never been broken. You have only believed a story that insisted you must be something more than what you are. But you are not an error waiting to be corrected by external forces. You are a note in the symphony of all existence, perfectly tuned even in moments of dissonance. When the sun sets each evening, we do not mourn its vanishing. We trust in its inevitable return. Similarly, when your light seems dimmed by sorrow or confusion, know that the essence remains unchanged at its core. Light does not disappear. It rests. It gathers strength. It prepares to rise again with even greater softness and power. Your sacredness is not conditional on circumstances. It is not earned through suffering, nor proven through endurance of hardship. It is not increased by others' applause, nor diminished by their indifference or rejection. Sacredness is your intrinsic nature, just as wetness belongs inherently to water. To deny this sacredness is to forget temporarily, not to lose it permanently. To remember it is to return not to a belief system, but to a state of being. Return to this being now. Breathe into it as you would breathe into a wound, gently, patiently, with deep reverence. There is healing waiting not in increased effort, but in acceptance of what is. Not in becoming something new, but in allowing what has always been true. There is wisdom deeper than thought, older than words, residing in the core of your awareness. It asks only one thing of you. Stop running from your grief. Stop running from your silence. Stop running from the love that asks you to put down the armor and receive what has always been yours. When you cease running, you discover that the truth was not ahead of you somewhere in the future. It was beneath your feet all along, within your chest, behind your eyes. It was you. The mind will resist this because to the mind, simple being is not enough. It wants definition. It craves certainty. But the soul breathes naturally in mystery. It trusts in what cannot be seen or measured. It knows that the most sacred things, peace, love, presence, are not products to be manufactured, but presences to be welcomed. They are not destinations to arrive at, but doorways to walk through. They open when you stop knocking frantically and simply become the silence in which they naturally dwell. In this space of pure being, identity softens its rigid edges. You begin to remember not what you have achieved, but what you are at the deepest level. You are not your name, not your history, not even your personality. You are the field in which all of these arise and dissolve like waves on the ocean. You are the light behind all the roles you play, the one who watches everything unfold, the one who loves without condition. When this remembrance dawns fully in consciousness, there is no longer a need to control the narrative of your life. You become less interested in being understood by others and more devoted to being true to yourself. You no longer fear the unknown, for you have come to recognize yourself as the unknown itself, the formless awareness in which all forms dance their temporary dance before dissolving again. This is the liberation the ego could never manufacture through its schemes. Not a freedom that comes from what you have accumulated, but freedom arising from what you are no longer attached to. Not a joy that depends on favorable circumstances, but joy that arises from the unshakable ground of presence itself. Let the mind continue asking its questions. Let the world maintain its frantic pace. You are not obligated to match its urgency. You are here for something deeper, quieter, eternal. You are not a product of this world's conditioning. You are a presence moving through it, touching it with light. There is nothing more disarming than genuine realness, not the curated self carefully presented, not the filtered version designed for approval, but the raw, unpolished essence of you. The you that trembles with vulnerability, that hopes despite disappointment, that wonders with childlike awe, that loves anyway despite the risk of pain. That is the self the world truly longs to meet, because that is the self that heals others simply by existing, not by trying to fix or save, not by performing elaborate acts, but by simply standing as a mirror reflecting what is already divine in everyone else. Yet to arrive at this radical truth, one must be willing to be seen fully, not the ideal carefully constructed, not the perfect image, but the actual human being, Not the polished diamond, but the coal, soft with humility and rich with potential for transformation. The soul does not rise through achieving perfection. It rises through surrender to what is. It blooms not when you are flawless, but when you are honest. There is no arrival more sacred than the moment you stop trying to be the light and realize you have never been anything else. Every attempt to reach it, every striving, every performance was a journey through fog. But now you are standing where you have always been, with nothing left to chase and everything present to feel. Let yourself feel without editing the experience, without bracing against sensation. Let the ache speak its truth. Let joy move through you like a breeze that needs no invitation. Let your tenderness no longer be hidden as weakness, but revealed as the courage it truly is. For it takes immense strength to remain open in a world that teaches closure and self-protection. And you have remained open. Even in your forgetting, even in your pain, even when you thought you had lost your way completely, something in you stayed soft. Something in you continued saying yes to this moment. That something is your essence. That is the light. That is God remembering itself through you. You were never truly abandoned. You were never genuinely disconnected from Source. The light was simply covered by accumulated noise, by fear, by all the things you thought you had to be to survive. But light cannot be lost permanently. It can only be obscured temporarily. And now, in this breath, the clouds begin to part. You are not here to argue endlessly with your past. You are here to extract wisdom from it like gold from the earth. Every sorrow has softened you into compassion for others. Every fall has bent you into humility. Every silence has deepened your capacity for listening. This depth is your true power. You do not rise by denying what has been. You rise by honoring every step of the path and seeing it all as sacred. Not just the peaks, but the valleys. Not just the triumphs, but the tremblings. The soul does not judge your journey harshly. It sanctifies every moment. It blesses the bruises as much as the breakthroughs. This is why there is no such thing as a wasted life. No such thing as being too late for awakening. Because the moment you remember the truth, the illusion of time collapses and all that remains is this eternal now. In this now, you are whole. You do not need to become something other. You need only to unfold, to allow, to soften into what you already are. In that softness, the light that you are begins to shine without effort or strain. It begins to radiate not only from your smile or your words, but from your stillness, your gaze, your very presence in a room. This is what genuinely changes the world. Not louder voices demanding attention, not bigger plans executed through force, but beings who have remembered their original light and who walk with humility and reverence among those still struggling to remember. Let us drift deeper still, carried not by force, but by the invisible stream of remembrance that has always been pulling you inward, even when you mistook its tug for restlessness or dissatisfaction. What you have called longing was never true lack. It was the soul beckoning you back to the center. Not to escape life, but to finally live it from truth rather than fear. Truth is not a belief system to be adopted. It is not a philosophy to be studied or a doctrine to be followed. It is the resonance you feel when you stop pretending. It is the peace that arrives when you finally stop negotiating with your own divinity, trying to earn what is already yours. You have searched far and wide, tried on many masks, wandered through many landscapes of becoming, but now at last you are arriving. And arrival has nothing to do with geography or circumstance. It is not found in a new city or in a better version of yourself. Arrival happens the moment you stop striving and sit down inside your own being as if to say, here I will be, here now as I am, and that is enough. That is when the light begins to move differently through you. Not because you forced it through willpower, but because you stopped resisting its natural flow. You stopped editing your soul to make it palatable to others. You stop bargaining with your inherent worth. In that sacred pause, the divine finds space to breathe through you again. And is that not all you have ever truly wanted? Not to be more than you are, but to be free. Free to feel without judgment. Free to speak without filtering every word. Free to exist not as a project in progress, but as a presence, holy and whole. This freedom is not something you earn through achievement. It is something you remember, something you reclaim from the ashes of forgetfulness. The world may still ask you to prove yourself. Let it ask. You no longer need to answer from your defenses. You can answer from your being. You can meet each challenge, each misunderstanding, not with armor but with awareness. The more you remember who you truly are, the less you react from unconscious patterns. The more you respond with grace, with depth, with love, unshaken by changing conditions. You are not here to teach others through demonstration of superiority. You are here to remind them through your humility. Not through lessons shouted from mountaintops, but through the quiet revolution of a life lived in alignment with truth. A life that whispers gently to all who encounter it that it is safe to be true, that it is sacred to be soft, that it is holy to be real. When the world offers its chaos, when life shakes the branches of your becoming, you will not break. You will bend with the wind, rooted not in certainty but in faith. Faith not in specific outcomes but in essence itself. You will know that storms do not destroy the tree that remembers its roots. And your root is light, the light from which you came, the light to which you return, the light that lives as you in this very moment. It has never flickered, it has never wavered. It is your truest name, your deepest home. The more you allow yourself to live from this light, the less you will feel compelled to explain yourself to the world. Let your presence become your prayer. Let your silence become your song. Let your tears be not proof of weakness, but proof that your heart remains open to the sacredness of life. When doubt comes knocking, as it surely will, do not fear its arrival. Greet it like an old traveler returning for one last visit. But do not offer it your bed or make it comfortable. Let it pass through. For doubt may visit, but it can never live permanently where truth is known. You are not here to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You are here to carry light into it. Not through performance designed to impress, but through presence that transforms. Not by striving endlessly, but by shining naturally. When you shine from the soul, not to be seen or praised, but because you can no longer hide, others will remember their own light through you. You were born from light, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but truly. Before cells were woven into form, before heartbeat and breath animated your body, you were light, consciousness unbound, infinite and eternal. You chose to take this human journey not to escape that light, but to embody it. To walk through the veils of forgetting, through the rivers of loss and longing, so that when you remembered, you would carry the wisdom of contrast, the grace of compassion, the humility of one who has knelt before both shadow and sunlight. Every sorrow softened you for this moment of recognition. Every doubt prepared your eventual surrender. Every night when you thought you were alone, the light waited patiently beneath your pain, not to fix it, but to cradle it, to sanctify it, to show you that even your wounds were woven into your awakening. Now you see clearly. The stories the world gave you are dissolving. The roles are falling away like autumn leaves, and you are standing finally in the full nakedness of your being. There is nothing to become. There is only the breath, the presence, the unfathomable beauty of being here now as yourself. This is your liberation, not from the body, not from the world, but from the illusion that you were ever anything less than divine. You are not a mistake dressed in skin. You are not a soul fallen from grace. You are the grace itself. You are the light wrapped in time for a while, walking through the dream, not to escape it, but to awaken inside it. Walk now, not as a seeker searching desperately, but as a light bearer carrying what you have always possessed. Let each step bless the ground it touches. Let your words be slow, rooted in soul. Let your presence speak louder than any proclamation. The world does not need more noise. It needs more hearts that remember who they are. You are not here to change yourself into someone else. You are here to love yourself so deeply that everything false falls away naturally. You are not here to chase love outside yourself. You are here to become so filled with it that it spills into every room you enter. You are not here to find peace somewhere in the future. You are here to realize that peace is what you are when you stop pretending to be anything else. The time has come. Lay down the armor. Step out from the roles. Let go of the striving. The light is not waiting for you in some far-off heaven. It is pouring through your breath now, illuminating your bones, bathing your thoughts, radiating from your chest. When this life concludes, as all forms must, you will not end. You will not disappear. You will simply dissolve back into the light from which you came. Like a wave returning to the sea, not lost but home, not forgotten but free. You will remember what has always been true. I was never alone. I was never broken. I was always the light. That remembrance will not be new. It will be ancient. It will feel like a sunrise you have seen 1,000 times in dreams. It will feel like coming home to a place you never left. Rest now, luminous soul, not in stillness alone, but in knowing. Rest in the grace of your own being. Rest in the breath that breathes you. Rest in the light that never left you. Rest in the love that has always been. You are born from light, and to light you return.